It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. Eastern Eyre football continued on last weekend, and last minor round of matches to come on Saturday. Joining us on the line, Jared Sampson, to help us go through it all. Sambo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Back into it last weekend under COVID protocols, but wasn't a bad day, actually. Everyone rocked up, good crowd, and, yeah, day went quite well, actually.
Exactly. Warrnambool, well hosted by the Central Eyre United Storm crew, but Kimber enjoyed the hospitality and they enjoyed it on the field as well. Gee whiz, they got hold of you guys. In particular, Burger Fitz had a bit of a field day and they ended up winning by 104 points, mate.
Yeah, after quarter time, it sort of started to go pretty south, mate. But, yeah, I mean, up to half time, it was a competitive game of football. It just, come out after the break, and you know how we roll this year. They ended up with just the stock standard 18 on the field. Got through to the end of the game. Last quarter just blew out. It was, I don't know, it just appeared from sitting on the bench watching that, most had checked out by that stage. Seemed to be focused on the night ahead. But it is what it is, mate. We, no doubt, we're just lacking the depth that you're seeing in Eastern Rangers and Kimber this year. So the boys we got out there are pretty competitive. The young fellas are still having a crack. It just, numbers are letting us down. Depth is really tested in the A grade on the weekend, and the month and a half off footy just hasn't done us any wonders at all.
Well, I know you don't make excuses, but it's obvious for me just looking at the best players and who actually lined up that you were short a few. A few fairly big names didn't play on the weekend, and obviously just getting themselves right for finals. Is that a fair assumption to make?
Yeah, we'll see how we go this week against Ports, mate. But I suppose if you look at a couple of guys coming in, like Bobby Bruce, he played exceptionally well, but spent the last quarter on the pine. Just not worth the risk and having him out there for the whole game. When he's tightening up, Jesse's slowly working back into a bit of midfield time, but plenty up forward. One young fella that really blew us away was young Blake Beattie with a week and a half he'd had prior to the game, losing his father, and a lot of emotion in the game for the boys. So I think overall the community was quite drained as well. And that's not an excuse, but seeing young Blake out there with the boys, it takes an emotional hit on the group because he's a young kid. He's 17 years old, mate, and as much as you try and wrap him up in cotton wool, it's emotionally draining seeing it. So super proud and just in awe of the effort he put on the game he played, and I think that's where the heart of our club is we get around each other and look after each other, and on-field results are irrelevant in the scheme of things.
Yep, well done, young man. In terms of performances on the field for Kimber Districts, I mentioned Burger Fitzgerald just warming up for another final series with 11 goals, if you don't mind. And Jesse Kemp is not easing himself back into things either. 4 goals from the ruck, just dominating the ground like he never left it.
He's an imposing figure, but Pinhead Groki's been rucking quite well for us, and it was a good battle to watch actually. So Kempy he can leap like a gazelle, but Kane's fitness is picking up, and his commitment through the game and his effort is second to none for the full 4 quarters. So I think Kane's one to watch over the coming years, and looking at our side, we've got a lot of youth on our side, so with a lot of young fellas, and once guys like myself end up on the pine, mate, she's pretty young out there. So, while some of these results aren't going our way, I think if you take a long-term view, things are looking pretty favourable for us over the next few years as we get more football into these young guys. I mean, Corey Waters, he's 18 years old. You got Blake Beattie. Yeah, there's plenty of youth there, mate, and plenty of exciting signs for the years to come.
Yep. All right, we're going to have a look at the ladders in a moment and where things are situated heading into the final round for other grades. But just on the weekend's matches there against Kimber, how did the other grades go for you guys?
So our B grade boys got up for a win, mate. So needed to win that to secure their spot in finals, and makes it tough for Kimber to make finals now. They come up against Rangers this week, so Rangers haven't dropped one in the Bs. So you'd imagine that game on Saturday locked us in and finished their season. So good win to have, good to lock our B grade away. And hoping our B grade can put some form on the park and come into finals with some good form and hopefully have a crack at it. So they'll have, if all stays as is, they'll draw Cow first up. So that'll be another good game of footy.
Yep.
Come finals. Senior Colts, the Kimber boys had a couple of lads come home and towed us up in the game. So that they're hoping to have a win there and lock themselves into finals. But Ports have managed to jag a win against Cowell on the weekend. So again, Kimber come up against Rangers and we've got Ports. So Rangers again would be pretty confident in that to knock Kimber off. So they'd be very much relying us knocking off Ports and hopefully pushing Rangers. So, yeah, and hopefully if we can have a win against Ports, we can jump into second spot and, yeah, hopefully lock in a double chance. If we've got our full side back in the Colts, mate, I'm excited about the opportunity they'll have because they've knocked Rangers off a couple of times now, only club that have. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing they go come finals.
That competition, the Senior Colts comp, is the certainly the most even one, I think, in Eastern Eyre football, although you could argue the point for the reserves as well. But that competition, gee whiz, a good team is going to miss out on playing finals.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's been red-hot competition all year. So, and I suppose if you look at us versus all the teams, we've all come away with a win each. So it's you can flip a coin each week. Once we've all got our kids back, everyone's got a few kids away at school, but when they're all back, it's good footy to watch as well. And really, I've been harping on it about it all year, but the whole reason behind the move we've made as a club is all about junior sport, and this is the best example of what we've done, mate. It's been great for their development. They're growing by the week, and just to see them playing competitive footy each week against kids their own age is a reward on its own. And you never know, maybe a bit of success might be on the horizon if they can string it together when it matters. Well,
we will wait and see over the next few weeks. But round 15, we've got to negotiate this one first. You've touched on the fixtures already. So before we talk about the Central Eyre United Storms game at Arno Bay, we should talk about this Eastern Rangers Kimber Districts clash. Throughout the grades, it's going to have some ramifications. But in terms of the A-grade clash, it's the battle for the minor premiership, basically.
So it's plenty on the line here. Bragging rights coming into finals. So it's I'd imagine they'll be both going red hot and probably want to stamp their authority before they have a week off. So Rangers obviously have locked away the minor premiership, but and have had the wood over Kimber this year, but there'd be a fair bit of pride on the line leading into finals, I'd imagine. Bragging rights coming into that second semi will be pretty important. So, yeah, I'm having coming up against both sides. Kimber have put us away pretty easily each time we've played them, and we've taken it up to Rangers. So I'm a little surprised Kimber haven't knocked them off yet, but they seem to match up quite well, particularly in the midfield. So watch this game with interest, mate. I think Kempy's the key. If he can get on top in the ruck, give his guys good service, they should get on top. But at the same token, I've said that a couple of times this year, and Rangers have proven me wrong. So I'll be backing Rangers for a win this week, mate. I reckon they've just been too consistent throughout the year, and their midfield is just up and about, playing good footy.
Indeed, and for one of the few times this year, or one of the few times when these clubs face off against each other, I don't think the A-grade match is going to be the game that people are going to be wanting to watch. They're going to be, the Eastern Rangers crew in particular, they would love nothing more than to make sure Kimber Districts can't make the finals in the Rezzies and the Senior Colts. Don't you worry about that. The rivalry between these two is pretty hot.
It's as strong as you get, isn't it, mate? I mean, Central Eyre and Woodney used to be a cracking rivalry, but this is as strong as you can get. The two powerhouses of this league for a long time, and if they can knock Kimber off in the B grade, I believe it's the first time Kimber will never have had made finals in B grade footy, mate. So even prior to a 14 comp, they're and I'd imagine they'd be more than happy to remind them if that happens. So, yeah, that'll be the game to watch, mate. That's where the bragging rights will be.
Likewise, in your clash, not only will the A-grade game be interesting between Ports and Central Eyre United, but there's a bit on it in some of the other grades as well. This game will be at Arno Bay, so down you'll head to the coast, pack the fishing rods, stay the weekend perhaps, but before that you've got a fairly important game on the Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's, I suppose a preview to the week after, isn't it? So, head down the coast. We haven't played Ports at home yet, so the boys are looking forward to getting down there. A few fellas own shacks down there, Zwari and the Wilmot boys, so I'd imagine they'll be well frequented over the weekend. But, should be... it's been a frustrating couple of games against them this year. We've held a lead and we've just allowed them to come over us in the last quarter, mate. So, smaller oval, that'll be interesting to see how that impacts the game. Obviously, Warrnambool and Cloncurry are quite a bit bigger than the oval Ports boys are used to, and maybe that sort of undone us when the fitness plays into it. So, a few of us out on the weekend, mate. But again, the 21 we'll have down there. We'll have red hot crack, and really looking forward to seeing how the boys go and hearing the result, and see if it sets it up for a good tilt at it the week after.
One thing's for sure, at those shacks you mentioned, it'll be swags at 5 paces, I'm pretty sure, on the Saturday evening. Might not be a few heading back up the highway until the following morning.
By all reports, mate, it's going to be a pretty strong crowd down there. So, Ports have been fantastic at supporting our club on the trip up this year, mate, and guys have been looking forward to the trip down there. I think they've got an Olympic theme for the night. The young fellas will be definitely hanging around after the game. No doubt about the fact that our club likes to have a bit of a social side to it. So, I'm hopeful to have plenty stay down there and support them in the same manner that they've supported us.
Beautiful. All right, well, good luck on the weekend to the Central Eyre United Storm crew and to everyone else playing in Eastern Eyre football as well. Sambo, we'll catch up with you next week, mate, to go through the results and the final ladders as we head into another final series for Eastern Eyre football.
Thanks, mate. Looking forward to catching up next week.